On that day, a shoot shall sprout from the stump of Jesse, and from his roots a bud shall blossom. Reminded as we were by the prophet Isaiah of a shoot sprouting from the stump of Jesse, today we celebrate that day 175 years ago when the first Catholic sister disembarked in San Francisco from the ship Crescent City and began her new mission in a new state in the grip of rampant gold fever. In the company of the new Bishop of Monterey, Sadok Alemany, and another Dominican friar, Sadok Villarasa, Mother Mary Gomer volunteered to leave the Monastery of the Cross in Paris and her well-regulated life of prayer, study, and common life, and nothing would be the same for her. But let's go back to the beginning of the story. Catherine Adelaide Gomer was born in Belgium, the third of 9 children. It is believed that she cared for her younger ones upon the death of their mother, and then at age 40, she entered the Monastery of the Cross in Paris, France in 1850. While still a novice, she responded to Bishop Alemany's plea to come to California and made profession before their departure. Along with 2 novices, the party of 5 boarded the ship Columbus to cross the Atlantic to New York. Dispatching the novices to the Dominican Sisters of Ohio for further training, Bishop Alemany, Father Villarasa, and Mother Mary sailed to the Isthmus of Panama, crossing it by mule and canoe. There is a wonderful story that the bishop's mule was a bit recalcitrant, and getting off her own steed, Mother Mary gave it a good whack, and there was no further trouble from the animal. Given that Monterey was the seat of the diocese, Mother Mary's first endeavor was to collaborate with Bishop Alemany to establish a school for young ladies, to be named Santa Catalina. As St. Paul counseled in the letter to the Romans, God's word was meant for all. And so it was to be in the schools she and he founded. There were to be 3 conditions for their work, for their mission. The poor of the city were to be educated free of all charges. Orphan girls were to be fed, clothed, and taught. And all were to have equal rights without regard to religious distinction. Their first attempt to establish such a school by purchasing a building for such was thwarted by the opposition of the citizens of Monterey, who petitioned that the issue should be put on the ballot. Not to be deterred in their efforts, a second building was successfully procured by Bishop Alemany, and St. Catherine's Academy opened in April of 1851, and by the fall there were 72 students. The first religious community consisted of Concepcion Arguello, daughter of the commandant of the Presidio of San Francisco, and a Californio, Rose Castro, and the 2 sisters that had been sent from Ohio. Father Villarasa described this nascent community as a Tower of Babel, 5 sisters speaking 3 languages. I have wondered about the dynamic between Bishop Alemany and Mother Mary. She professed a vow of obedience to him, but I believe hers was an independent spirit born for those times. Unlike women of that era, as prioress, she was freer to make decisions, and she was in charge of life in the convent and school, managing its religious observances, procuring food from as far away as Chile and Peru, and even ice from Alaska. She needed books and habits and all other provisions from a variety of sources. She was even sent a pump organ from France, which you can see in the Heritage Room across the way later. It does not function. In 1853, the diocese was divided and Bishop Alemany was named Archbishop of San Francisco. Monterey was no longer his purview. Santa Catalina was closed, and Mother Mary chartered a schooner, moving 7 professed and 3 novices, the furniture, the blackboards, the books, the chalk, and some 50 students, sailing yet again up the coast of California, in the Golden Gate, and established St. Catherine's Academy in Benicia, which at that point was the capital of California. Again, without regard to the biases of the days, the students included members of other faiths, daughters of gold miners, and later a survivor of the Donner Party. After 12 years as prioress, Mother Mary resigned, living out her life in Benicia, where she is buried. She was not selected to move to San Rafael when then Mother Lewis O'Donnell bought 10 acres of land in the Coleman Tract and built a school and convent here on this land that we call Dominican Convent. Whether this was a sadness for her, we do not know. But it is to this woman, this immigrant from France, that we owe the work and mission of the Dominican Sisters of San Rafael these last 175 years. In all this, I hear the echoes of our opening song and the first reading. From the roots of Jesse, from the family of Dominic, Mother Mary's spirit was indeed one of wisdom, understanding, counsel, and strength. Through education that ignored the societal and cultural boundaries of the day, Mother Mary brought truth, love, and justice, the mission we seek to live out today. We do not have much in her writings. She was too busy with God and with the mission to which she had committed herself. But my favorite one is this: love equally all kinds of people. Your love for all participates in the love of God. While she may have at times felt like John the Baptist, a voice crying out in the wilderness of early California and facing her multiple challenges, it was her sure foundation and fidelity to the religious life of the 464 Dominican sisters who have followed her down through the years that schools from pre-K to university were founded, hospitals were led and staffed, housing and respite for those living on the streets established. We have worked in food banks, run programs that assisted the elderly, been chaplains assisting those navigating illness, served on parish, diocesan, and archdiocesan staffs. Our voices are now raised for migrant and climate justice. But this day is not all about the Dominican sisters. Over the years, we have formed partnerships with other like-minded persons who seek a better world in our community, our country, and our world. And as part of our celebration today, we have been chosen to invite some of those with whom we have formed these partnerships. Their mission, they share our mission, we share theirs. And they are across the street for you to enjoy. There is no one way that our sisters have and will continue to advocate for truth, justice, and peace. And so to end, I share with you the video crafted by Sister Patricia Farrell that helps tell the rest of our story.